Hello, this is Katie O'Regan. I'm the director of the Star City Film Festival and author of Featured Friday Filmmakers. And we are here on this Friday with a really cool filmmaker. This is Stephen Folker. Hi, Stephen. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for meeting me tonight on this Friday, the Friday before Easter. It's springtime here in Iowa, and we're all getting ready to bloom. So I wanted to tell you all about Stephen's work. He's a very accomplished filmmaker. He's a chosen film in our upcoming Star City Film Festival, which is going to be the first at the end of August, the end of July, and the first weekend in August in Waukon, Iowa this year. Stephen is the recipient of several awards in his filmmaking. He also is the award winner for the Green Light Grant in Iowa. And Stephen, can you tell us about your film, the film that you're going to have at the Star City Film Festival?
Yeah, the film is called When It Snows, and it is about a pair of siblings that are helping with their mother who has dementia, and
Mm-hmm.
it's late stages, and she's really starting to forget where she's at and who
Mm-hmm.
everyone is, and basically they're kind of in a precarious situation where they have to decide if someone's going to put her in assisted care or not.
Mm-hmm. It really resonated with me when I saw your entry because as you know, I just did a film called Give 'Em Hell Honey with a similar topic to it, with
Mm-hmm.
uh, focused from the siblings' point of view, um, and what siblings go through when dealing with people that they love, that are their parents, and when they get old. And so it's a really relevant topic. And I love your film. It's a short film. It's about 25 minutes. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, it's really well done. The actors are really great. The woman who plays the mother who has dementia is so believable. Tell me a little bit about her.
Yeah, her name is Dee, and Dee is primarily a theater actor.
Hmm.
And I kind of got her into film a few months beforehand at
Uh-huh.
the ripe age of 80 years old. And
Wonderful. Yeah.
she really loves it. And
Mhm.
she's one of these actors, I think, that she really kind of doubts herself a little bit. And
Mm,
once she gets there and she realizes, hey, this isn't so bad, I can do it.
mm.
I think she hits a home run. She's a really good actress.
She totally hits a home run. It was the first thing I noticed about well, as a filmmaker, and someone who chooses the films for the Star City Film Festival. I I love the content. But the acting really and the direction really pulls in the short film. So congratulations. I'm looking forward to having you at the Star City Film Festival, and you could do a talk back to the people that come to see it. I think it's going to be on the 1st of August. We extended our Star City Film Festival to 4 days because we're going to do some staged readings of some new movies on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday night we're going to do a creep fest because we have a lot of films entered that are horror genre. So I'm going to do some outdoor screenings for our filmmakers. And then
Wow, that's cool.
Saturday, yeah, isn't that fun? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
little fun action outside by the cornfield. You never know what will happen that night.
Someone's going to come out of there.
Yeah, right. Totally. We're gonna do some filming that night. And then Saturday night we're gonna have a very special red carpet. It's a dress up kind of event indoors, and we'll have your film on Saturday. But hopefully you can come as soon as you can to the festival. And
Absolutely.
tell me where you're. Let's talk a little bit about you. Tell me where you started doing films. How did you start doing films?
Well, sure. I've always had an interest in making independent films. And as a kid, I used to make little short films and put them on the public access channel. And as an adult, I kind of had to, make a living. So I became a photographer. And
Hmm.
then one day, this is back in 2010, I had reconnected with an old friend from grade school, actually.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
And we decided to make a short film together. It's
Oh,
called
how old were you? Were you 10? Did you say?
when I was first making films. It would have been, oh boy, I was probably around that age, like
Nice.
10 to 13 when I first started making little films.
Hmm.
And so, anyways, I made a film with a friend,
Hmm.
and this particular project, at this time, I was trying to be everything. I was the actor, director, writer, the whole nine yards. And I remember thinking to myself, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
don't know if it's going to turn out any good. And I'd had this film school graduate from Chicago, and he brought along his professor who was the gaffer, and then like another friend who was the sound recordist.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was a noble effort, but I think he was still kind of green, and the end result. I didn't think it. I think the humor was there, but I don't think the execution was, especially
Uh-huh.
for how long it took.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I'm a photographer. How difficult can it be to film something? So I jumped on the other side of the camera and just started writing and directing little short films like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually got into doing feature length stuff. And my first feature length movie I did, I made it for a very tiny budget, like $5,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sold it and then used the money I got from selling the rights to it to make another film and started learning about distribution
Right.
and learning about how distributors are very predatory and their contracts are not meant to benefit
Yeah,
filmmakers.
I found that out. It's sad but true. I'm trying to spread the news. Yeah, I lived in LA last year and I had a couple um, scammers try to take my movie from me. It's a very disheartening um, situation with and people don't want to talk about it. I think they feel embarrassed that they almost got scammed, and some people do get scammed. So thank you for bringing that up, Stephen.
Yeah, well, they do, and what it is, and I tell you what, even if only one filmmaker takes the advice from this, I don't care.
Right.
The bad distributors and sales agents, they'll have you sign an agreement that's like 8 to 15 years or something. It's a really long
Yes,
term.
it's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have really high recoupment fees, and there's no way to really ask them what they're spending the money on. So it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we've got 15,000 for marketing and
Right.
15,000 for expenses, and so now you've got like 30 to 50K that they have to make back before you make any money.
Right.
And if you go, well, hey, where did you market my film? You don't get an answer
No.
because you know as well as I do to market on Facebook, it's like $100 or something. It's like they're not spending that money. It's just a way to pocket all the money because then they turn around and they email all the people they know. They get the film distributed. They make the checks they're going to make. You get Zippo.
Right. I've heard a lot of
Yeah.
filmmakers tell this story.
Yeah.
Preach, Stephen, preach.
Yeah. So
tell us the solution. So what's your solution to distribution?
Well, the solution is filmmakers need to quit being desperate.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's just, they're so desperate for exposure that they'll take anything and they'll go, well, we'll learn along the way, or we'll see what happens. I hate to say it, but if you know that going into it, you're an idiot. You have to use common sense and logic. And the way you avoid it is stop giving companies like that your film. If a contract can't be understood when you look at it, why would you pay an attorney $500 to tell you what you already know?
Exactly. I'm with you.
So
see, we got some Iowa common sense going down over here in the filmmaking world. You're right. So I just did I had some Predators call. I did my first movie, with this movie, and I entitled it Painting Shane, and then I redid the movie. I retitled it and I redid it because I wasn't happy with it. But along the way, I had some very sketchy people offer, hey, distribution, blah, blah, blah. And then I looked into it and I almost signed a contract with someone who would have just taken my film. And I paid for this film. I paid for my film. It's my film. Right. And I had some good collaborators along the way. Anyone watching, they can look at IMDb for all the actors are fabulous. I directed and produced a play that was never produced really before. And then I made the film out of it. I redid the script. Phyllis Yes wrote the first play, and I redid the script and did a screenplay out of it. And I've had some terrible experiences with people trying to be so shady. They think you're like really rich because you produced a film with your own money. And so with that, people get greedy and they think that you're targets. Like what you said, filmmakers have to stop being greedy. I was like, oh, hell no. I got this film to where it is now. I'm not going to give you my film. I'll distribute it myself. And I did. I got it on Amazon when Film Hub couldn't get it on Amazon. It just came out literally 3 weeks ago. Took me a long time, but nobody owns that damn film but me. So
yeah, and you're right. And and Film Hub is another example of. And I'm 50-50 on them because
50,
I think
I'm 40-50.
they put you in a marketplace where people can distribute it, but a lot of the companies that are picking up your film on there are so small they're not making any money, and if they
Right.
are, it's
Right.
impossible to vet how much you are or aren't making. You
Right.
know,
It's
and
I'm not,
the only platforms that can really make you money are Tubi and Amazon, and
right.
Tubi pays more than Amazon, but at the end of the day, it's like most of these independent films are not going to make any money or enough
That's
money
right.
to write about.
That's right. That's right. It's
So
just
yeah. So that gets into another conundrum, which is like all these filmmakers wanting people to invest in their movies. And it's like,
right.
why don't you prove how you can make money on your film? Or why don't you put some of your own money in the film first?
Right.
They don't want to.
Or the writers who think they should get paid $10,000 for their screenplay that took them 2 weeks to write. And then we producers should put it up, right? Yeah, no, I'm good. It's so nice to have, to talk to another independent filmmaker. And, the market's different than it used to be. It's a different world now than it used to be. And so I like to talk about solutions. I think our solution is independent filmmakers have to get together and we have to form a new kind of distribution. We have to, because, Film Hub is, they take 20% of your film. They give you no attention. I have my film is now distributed through Film Hub on Fossen Television, which is international. But they get the ad money. They make money on our films, but we're not making any money back. Oh, that's Lacey. Lacey, come here, my little corg. So I think the solution is that we have to work with film theaters. My idea, and I'm sure you've thought about it as well. We have to work with all the theaters that are out there struggling, and we have to get our independent films in the theaters, and we have to figure that matrix out. And we have to support each other, because Hollywood blockbusters, there's only a few people making a bunch of money in LA, and God bless them. I know a couple of them, but it's a really small crowd. Everybody's not guaranteed ever to have their writing or their work or their singing or the movie making ever seen by the world. They're not. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So we're lucky that we get to do what we do, but it's a struggle, and it's it doesn't make you rich. You just
Yeah.
you have to, do what you can to do your art. But isn't that the struggle of the artist always? It's always been my struggle, and I keep doing it, and I always will, because I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, I agree. And I think it's, a lot of people go, then why make a film? Well, part of it's just because you're an artist,
So
paint because they want people to see their artwork. But
yeah.
I think you can get discovered by higher up people who are connected
Mhm.
by making stuff and doing festivals. But I think, there's different approaches to that, right? Because with film festivals, it's like, the biggest ones in the world are rigged and you're not going to get in them.
Oh God, it's such a scam. I know people don't. I know filmmakers, and because I have a film festival, which is a homegrown film festival, a season. I personally know my filmmakers. That's why I'm talking to you right now. I handpick them. I actually show the films. I have a real festival. So the scammers in the film festival market it's real. I mean, people are spending, $7,000, $10,000 to submit their films to film festivals, and they never get chosen. I know film festival, which I won't mention their name. It's in Iowa, who takes films, never ever looks at them to judge them, just takes everybody's money and doesn't even show their films in their festival. It's
Gee.
awful. I mean, they should be. I'm going to report them.
Yeah. Well, there's the other gimmicky thing too is, you also have, I've went to festivals where the programmer, the person who created the festival, won an award for the program that they're running.
I know, right?
And read between the lines. I think we know some of those out there. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's hokey. It's like, hey, you won the Lifetime Achievement Award for the festival that you're the leader of.
Yeah, exactly. I had a film that we won for Star City Film Festival, but it's for the best team, and we just got an award, but it wasn't the winner of the festival. No one made any money. Here's the thing: in the Star City Film Festival, when I believe in supporting real people who do real films, right? So if your film is chosen, which yours is for this festival, then there's different awards for every specific film. If you come to the festival and you show up and you are participate, you're going to get an award. It's not going to be the winner. It's not going to be best, but it's going to be very specific to your film. And that's how I recognize people,
Yeah.
because you deserve, you put an entry fee in, and I don't charge a bunch, as you know, for an entry fee for this, but you show up, and then it's community, and it's worthwhile, and you can collaborate with other filmmakers. That's the only film festivals that are worth anything.
Yeah.
Most of them, I haven't submitted my movie, Give Him Hell Honey, to maybe one film festival, which was a joke, and I took it out. I won't do it because I know how they work.
Yeah, I think some of the worst festivals out there, and I don't badmouth the small ones because
No, small ones are better.
yeah,
Much better.
even ones that are like in their first year, they can go on to be really great things. But I think all the online monthly festivals
Oh
are
yeah.
money because they're just taking everybody that submits and the amount of, and then you have the ones that are like knockoffs of big ones, like
Right.
like the Cannes World Film Festival, and people go online and go, "I got in Cannes." No, you didn't.
Yeah, that's not the Cannes World Film Festival.
And they know they didn't get into Cannes. It's like, come on, you're not that ridiculously dumb. You're just saying that because it feels good, but we're all looking at you like you're a moron. I mean, it's
Right. But
yeah,
only if you know the gig and you've been doing it long enough, like we have been, right? So the Chicago Film Festival, for example, is a huge film festival, but they charge like 200 for late fee, $250 for a film, and there's very few films that actually get chosen, right? So people, and they get some good films, but I mean the truth is the truth. This is not news. I'm not breaking news about the Chicago Big Film Festival. The thing is that $200, right? And then there's no, if your film doesn't get in, it's not like they go, here's your money back, right? That's the thing. It's a very, and I'm not just targeting them. I'm just talking in general. If you're going to make it a festival and you take someone's money and you say, yes, you can be in it, you deserve to have a part in the festival. You deserve your film shown, and you deserve people to actually judge it and watch it, right? That's the deal. So people need to talk more about the film festival scam, because it's real. It's a big deal. And it's very disillusioning for a lot of people. And people lose their confidence over being an artist because they don't get their film in some stupid film festival that didn't deserve them anyway. That's
yeah.
a
So
mistake.
I think you're right about that, and you are so right about what people spend on the submissions,
Oh
which
my
gets into
gosh.
another question. It's like you have all these people that are begging for money to kickstart their film or whatever,
Yeah.
or don't want to pay anybody because they're broke. But then they go
Right.
and they buy expensive cameras, or they can spend $5,000 on submission fees.
Right. But
I
they
mean,
won't pay anybody. Right.
right, and that's another thing with filmmakers. It's like, people ask all the time, what kind of camera are you shooting on? That doesn't matter. It's a
It
tool.
doesn't matter.
It
People
is a
shoot iPhones, and you can shoot 4K on an iPhone just as like you can. I have a big camera. I sold it. I have two iPhones I shoot on. 4K cinematic. It's all good. It's all about the lighting and the perspective in your artistic eye. Because now, in the editing and what you edited on, and that people in Hollywood, I know people that shoot huge films that have B-roll with iPhones all day long. So
yeah.
it's a different kind of world. We're just ripping on everybody. Film festivals, filmmakers.
No, I don't want to come off as a negative. I'm not. I'm really a positive person. We're just kind of talking candidly here, but
We're telling
I
the
think
truth.
it is things for people to think about though with their
Yeah.
films. It's like, you know, I always tell people, instead of being concerned about what camera is being used, be concerned about the person who's shooting your film. Be
Yeah.
concerned about your audio. Be concerned about how good your actors are. And maybe
Right.
hiring your friends who may or may not be good actors may not be a good idea. I mean,
Totally. Totally
but
agree with you. Yeah. I come from a theater background. I was telling you before. So I love to work with people who have theater experience because their work ethic, and they actually pay their dues. Everybody wants to be famous. They're like, "Oh, you should put me in your movie." I'm like, "Well, you should be trained to be an actor." How's that? Narky. But I actually pay people. I mean, I'm the girl who pays people, because, and I, as an actor, I get paid, and I for my feature film, everyone got overpaid. I
yeah,
paid I paid them more than SAG minimum, and they got, and they deserved it because they're all great.
Yeah, well,
You
good for you.
don't have to do that.
No, you don't, and I think too that there's different averages that at the end of the day, the market's going to pay what the market's going to pay,
Right.
and a lot of actors, they want professional pay rates, but a lot of actors aren't working professionals. So
Right. Right. Exactly.
that's not to be rude,
Show
but
me your resume. Right.
you're not going to get what somebody gets paid on Law and Order when you do it as a hobby.
Right.
Part of your
Well,
payment is the fact somebody's giving you an opportunity and you
right.
take a demo reel and advance your career. But sometimes the worst actors, they're obsessed about how many lines they have and
Oh my,
stuff
how
like
many
that.
lines they have? Right. Or who's getting paid more than they are? Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's just silly. It's just it be humble, do the best job you can do,
Yeah.
continue to grow with your craft and learn, and just know that every project is different, and,
Yeah.
and but I do
Yeah.
believe in paying actors. I think in the beginning, all filmmakers do a lot of copy credit films. Anyone that says they don't, they're lying. I mean, that's how you get your feet wet. But at some point, when you get to the stage where you can pay people, pay them. You know?
Yeah. 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 That'd be great. Or if you get a grant, like the Green
Yeah,
Land Grant, you can, you can afford it. That's pretty much now how, unless you're independently wealthy, that's how you can afford a film. It's just how it is.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. So I'm really excited to shoot my next film, Give Me a W. We're going to shoot part of it as there's a film festival within the movie. So you can be in it. Now I'm doing lots of unpaid actors because it's all local and we're going to do a fun. So this one is not a SAG Screen Actor Guild film. This is a very down home film. Unlike Give 'Em Hell Honey, I shot in was Screen Actor. Went through the whole Screen Actor Guild contract thing, which
How was that, by the way?
I don't think I'll ever do it again.
Tell me why. I've personally only done non-union for my own personal reasons, but
Yeah. I wouldn't. The Screen Actors Guild is you could pay actors more, um, or the same amount that you do for scale in union, but the union itself, there's so much red tape to go through, um, and I didn't see any benefit. I didn't get any benefit
yeah,
from doing it Screen Actors Guild. The problem is if you want an actor who's in the Screen Actors Guild, you have to do a Screen Actor contract. So if doing it again, I wouldn't unless I was, had a big budget where if someone wants to, invest in a film that I direct, or if they hired me to do it, of course, that'd be great. I would love to hire everyone Screen Actors Guild because I believe, like I said, as a theater director, I've always paid people. I'm known for it. When I paid them more than I ever got paid but I believe in that. But I wouldn't recommend doing a Screen Actor Guild film. Unless you have to, unless you have someone that you really, really want who's in the Screen Actors Guild, then you have to do a contract with them, but not worth your time.
yeah.
It's expensive.
No, that makes total sense here.
Yeah.
I where you're coming from on that, and and I said, kudos if you want to use SAG. I mean, same thing here. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of
If
the
you
stuff.
can, if you can afford it, you
Yeah,
know, I spent my money doing it, and if you can afford it, I still wouldn't, unless you have a really well-known actor and you really want to pay. Ed Asner was going to be in my film, but then we lost him. So that's the reason I did Screen Actors Guild. Um, and then I just decided to do it anyway. And I hired a couple screen actors from the Screen Actor Guild. So I had to, but I wouldn't do it again.
yeah.
I'm
I
very
think it
blunt.
depends on the budget you're doing, and most people doing like ultra micro budget films. I
Yeah.
don't think it's worth the headache, and the same goes even with
No,
tax incentives. If you live in Illinois and the minimum spend is 100K and your film budget's 120K, it's not worth it.
it's not worth it.
Yeah, just
No, it's not. It's not worth it. And also the benefit from being like, I turned down being a Screen Actor Guild actress because for me, I want to do independent films. I do a few commercials a month as a UCB, actor, and I'm not in this I'm not in the union, and I don't have to pay, $1,500 a year for my union fees. And my ego doesn't need me to be in the Screen Actor Guild film. By the grace of God, some big, a big producer wants me to be in their Screen Actor, feature film, I'll get my card, but I don't see any benefit in it right now. Oh,
Mm.
there's my Lacey. She's gonna be a Screen Actor Guild dog, though. She's famous. Come here, Lacey. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. It's an interesting perspective, and maybe not very popular, particularly with actors who are in this Screen Actors Guild. Um, but I know a lot of people who haven't worked in a few years because they're in the Screen Actor Guild, and producers are now producing independently, and those actors are getting just as much money. I'd rather pay someone $500 a day and not have to deal with the union. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of talented actors in the world, you know.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and that's a high day rate too, by the way. You know,
I paid that for my actors when I did Give 'Em Hell Honey. That's what I paid mine. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you
that's a
pay
really high rate for
very
that.
yeah.
Right.
That's a really fair rate. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
it's overpaid. Overpaid. Yeah.
yeah. Well, but hey, good for them and good for you. I mean, they if they deserve it, they deserve it. If you can do it, and
They're great. I love all my actors in the movie. They're great. They're absolutely great. So I have no regrets about any of my actors. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the union itself has been extremely unhelpful, very difficult to work with. And I'm a daughter of a union man. I believe in unions. You know, my daddy worked at John Deere's for his whole life. I believe in the actors union, but if you're an independent filmmaker and you're making no money and you got a mortgage like, I do, I'm not a masochist. I'd rather eat, um, and survive. I don't need to make films that bad, you know,
yeah,
right? I can make a film on my little iPhone and have a heyday with have a good old time. So that's just how I feel about it. And I think people need to talk about that in the industry of film, and particularly young people coming up. I don't like to disillusion people. I as a theater actress, I also the same thing with union, and I've got to dance at Broadway. I've toured the country. I've been really lucky as a theater actress, but I've done it for since I was a kid, 14 years old. So theater's just a whole different thing than film. Theater, you have to memorize the lines. I did my play, Good Morning Miss America, that I produced and started in off Broadway, which turned into Give 'Em Hell Honey, and I did the lead, and I was on stage for 2 hours straight. I deserve to pay myself a lot of money for that, right? This is
yeah.
really crazy work. So me doing the film, I'm also in the film. Not nearly the work as an actress to be in a film than it is to be in a stage. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. You can't touch it. So that's why I'm snobby about hiring actors who are actually theater people or have tried to be a theater person or want to study somehow or want to, because it's just a different craft.
It is, and I think some of the best film actors I worked with were really seasoned theater actors,
Yeah.
and that's to distinguish too that there is, and this is not to be disparaging, but there is some community theater actors that really there's no threshold as far as what's good or bad. They're doing it
Right.
right,
Yeah.
and then there's people that really take their craft serious
Yeah.
and they do a lot of shows and they've been doing it 20 years that
Yeah.
they
My
deserve.
favorite people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
amazing, and you just gotta find them.
Yeah, it's very dedicated. I highly recommend hiring all those community theater people actors, particularly older ones. Like you said, they've been doing it 20 years, maybe 30 years or more, 40 years.
Yeah.
I know Diana Angelina, who plays my mother in the movie, is a great theater actress. She's in LA and she's a decorated theater actress. She doesn't have that many film credits, but you can tell in her performance that she's a great actress, and that's why I hired her. So, well, we should do this again.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this film because we need to bring in some other film. So I'm going to do a for the filmmakers that are chosen for the Star City Film Festival. I'll send you the link. We're gonna do like a collective, so we can meet each other and for the public and just to introduce each other's films. I'll send it to you next week and see what your time schedule is. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
Well, I really love your work. It's great
Well,
to talk to you.
thank you, and thank you for selecting the film. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film for sure. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. We'll talk soon. Thank you. This is Stephen Folker, featured Friday filmmaker. extraordinaire. Talk to you later, man. See you
All right.
later. Okay.